And we are live. Hello, everybody. My name is Rafael, founder of Share Studio. With me today, we got Mari. She is a lot of things in Share Studio. To be honest, she wears multiple hats. Actually, I'm just gonna let Mari say what she does primarily. Mari, go ahead.
I am the art director and senior graphic designer at Share It, among other things, like Rafa just said. So that's the main thing.
Yes, she's been with Share Studio for 3 years already and counting. We have to do the 3 year anniversary. But most important today, our guest is John. He is the founder of ZonGuru. It's a great tool. We actually use ZonGuru for a lot of our benchmark analysis for the listing optimizations that we do. So I think the best way to share the experience we have with ZonGuru is not even ourselves, but to have the person, the man itself here, the legend. So John, welcome.
I wouldn't say legend, but yeah, okay, cool.
And he's from Australia. As many of you know, I used to live in Melbourne, Australia. So I think it's like my third home. So Venezuela, the US, and then Australia. So yeah, man, welcome.
Yeah, no, good to be here. I'm obviously love what you guys do. Content and I always explain content on Amazon as it's kind of the lifeblood of your Amazon business. If you don't get that right, if you don't get your store right, everything else is an uphill battle, right? So you've got to, obviously product is first, but second is your whole listing and your storefront and everything around there. It's the lifeblood of the creativity, and it can absolutely change your business. So what you guys do is critical to any Amazon business, and it's creative, which is great.
Yeah, so as we like to say, the content is the listing. You can have the best PPC in the market, right? You can invest a lot into PPC, but if you're not getting the clicks, you might be ranking great, but if you're not getting the clicks, you're not going to sell your product, right? You have to tell the story with the images. So when you look for something, let's look for, I don't know, external hard drive. I have one right here in front of me. You'll have a lot of listings pop up. What's going to make, obviously, reviews, price, the difference price is gonna stimulate them to click on your listing, but the hero image is so important. For example, right? So jumping into hero images and listing ranking and all that, keyword research. What can you tell us about keyword research and all that? How does ZonGuru? Is there anywhere where you want to start besides keyword research?
No, that's great. We can start there. Let me talk high level to how we kind of conceptually look at keyword research, listing optimization, and then we can jump in. I can show you a little bit of the tool, whatever you guys like. But I would say probably our flagship product is our keyword tool. It's called Keywords on Fire. And I think what we do differently, and the way we've always approached it is what I call contextual keyword research or contextual SEO. Gone are the days, and most of the tools in the space, they kind of look at it and say, hey, what are the best keywords to put in your listing? Search volume. Let's put what are my competitors ranked for? Let's put that in the listing. Great, I have the keywords. I've got reach. But what we do is we say, hey, what are the best keywords to put in your listing? Yes, search volume. Great. But on top of that, how do your top competitors rank for those specific keywords? And importantly, where do they not rank? Where's the opportunity? And can I potentially own those keywords? And what we do in terms of the strategy is we do something called a halo effect. So especially if you're in a competitive market, we implement the halo effect strategy, which is, number one, get all the great, top search volume keywords. You've got to have those in your listing. You've got to have as many as you can. Be indexed for those keywords. Great, put them in your listing. But can you pull out a bunch of keywords that your competitors don't rank well for, that has decent search volume, that maybe there's not a lot of ratings around that are less competitive, that I can truly own? I can create a subset of those keywords, make sure they're in my listing so they're quality index against any PPC that I do, and then run those as a PPC campaign. And the idea there is that if you can get in front of sellers with those opportunistic keywords, get some conversions happening, the Amazon algorithm goes like, oh, you guys are, converting on these keywords better than your competitors. You must have something great. Great, we're going to index you for those. But we're going to start indexing you and start ranking you for some of those more competitive, short tail, high volume search terms. and then you start to rank across everything. So it's a really good strategy, especially for those in a competitive space. You're trying to get a leg up on your competition. So that contextual way of saying, hey, not only, hey, these are the best keywords that I should have in my listing, but how do my competitors rank and rate for these, or where are some keywords that they don't rank? Understanding what that is in context with your competitors is really, really critical in today's market.
Yeah, I want to add something to that. I always like to give live examples or examples that happen in the real world, right? We recently did a listing optimization with Olga. Great client. She's super friendly. We're actually gonna make a podcast client case study from Olga. Madi was the lead designer and our director in that project. Came beautifully. We increased sales just by optimizing the content by like 80%, traffic by like 100+%, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, all the data will be there in the next podcast that we do with Olga. But one key thing that we found out when we started looking into her PPC is that we don't do her PPC. Again, disclaimer, we focus primarily on content. Obviously, we do have to do keyword research and trends and all these things, the benchmark analysis to come up with the ideas for our content. But one of the key things we were telling her, like we were advising her, this was more like like when you have an accountant or a finance, somebody who's gonna give you a finance tip, but they give you a huge disclaimer like, listen, I'm not a CPA, I'm not like, so don't listen to this, but this is what we would do. This is the same case. And she was trying to compete with big time players. And we told her, like, don't try to aim for those keywords. Like, go somewhere where they're not looking, which have a decent traffic, yes, of course, but try to go there, invest that money there, because if you start ranking there, everything's gonna be better for you, and you don't have to spend that much money. So this is a great tool. Olga's using it. Her sales are increasing. Her PPC, her ad spend is getting better. Obviously, like when we start selling on Amazon, before, I would say like 5 years ago, you could start with, I don't know, $3,000 selling on Amazon, but now it's so competitive, and you need these tools. You need these tools to stand out. You really do need to have all these, I would say, arsenal of tools and be ready for it, because the competition right now is so fierce that you have to even get more creative. And this is a great tool that I would highly recommend, because if you want to invest, if you have $5,000 just to invest in PPC for the first 2 months, 3 months, just in PPC, like, you want to get the most out of it. Obviously, you don't want to lose money. So, I would highly recommend this tool that John's speaking about.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think, again, if you're going to spend $5,000 in PPC, you've got to start with the right strategy in PPC, but it all boils down to, have I got the best product? Have I got the best visuals for my product? And have I got the best listing? So you've got to make sure your listing is hands down the best it can be. And that context thing is another thing we do on the listing side, right? In our listing optimizer tool, again, we answer the context question, which is like, not only like, hey, do I have the best keywords in my listing, but how does it compare to my top 8 competitors on page 1? And we rate all those top 8 competitors, and we rate your listing, and then we say, hey, these are the keywords you actually need to add to be better than any listing on page 1. So hands down, you can walk out of using ZonGuru and say, okay, my listing is the best listing on page 1 versus any of my competitors. And if you can do that, then you can check the box and say, okay, cool, listing is done, obviously visuals aside, let me move on, do PPC and do everything else. So it's a good benchmark to make sure that you have the best listing. And we kind of do some other cool stuff, in terms of how we get at the keywords, finding what actually people type into Amazon, making sure that we can call those out, and also backend search terms. We are the only tool that you can actually look at backend search terms of your competitors, see what they put in there. Obviously, it's not visible to sellers or customers, but we have a way of getting at that, so you can really see, like, not only what are they putting in the front of their listing, but what are they putting in their back end as well. Super
important. The back end keywords that appear on your listing, super important, because you get to know more of that ninja type strategy that they're doing, and this enables you to get a better scope, get like a 36,000, 32,000 view of the place of Amazon, and be like, okay, they're using this. These people are using this. Maybe I can use this and this. Create this content with these terms, and be able to scale your your listing and optimize it. Obviously, like at the end of the day, we're all here to make money. I love to say, like, it's not about, like, I'm pretty much personally, like, any project I go into, like, I have to have a passion for it in some sort of way. If not, I know I'll get bored within literally a month of it. So I'm a creative, I'm a filmmaker, been a filmmaker since 2009, and I wouldn't be able to be here and create, win awards. Like, we won the Tilley Award for best cinematography in 2020, and so we wouldn't be able to do it. But to have that, you need that passion, you need a drive. Can you tell me a little bit about why you decided to start ZonGuru? Like, what made you start? Like, I love connecting with people and knowing their stories and all that. And I feel like if people can get, some sort of connection with them, like, it's better. Like, they'll treat the space differently, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, our passion is 100% something that everyone has to look for, right? We've been around since late 2016. I was in advertising for many years. I started my own brands on Amazon. Went all in on that, did well with my own private label brands on Amazon. And that got me out of kind of the agency 9-to-5 world, ran those brands for a while. And, at the time, for me, the tools that were out there, there's kind of an advertising or a marketing saying garbage in, garbage out, right? And I felt that a lot of the data that was being presented in tools was exactly that. It was just data for the sake of data, non-relevant data, whole bunch of data, and not really answering the right business questions. Like, what are the key business questions that we need to answer with data, and how do we visualize that? And so that's always been our focus when I launched ZonGuru is how do we, how do we focus on the 80-20 rule? What is the 80%, most impactful data that is really going to move the needle for your business? And how do we visualize that to answer the questions in the right way, right? And so that's why when you look at our tool, like Keywords on Fire, like Listing Optimizer as an example, those two tools, we answer the context. Like, hey, it's not just we just need these keywords and we need to have them in our listing. We need to understand how does that compare to our competitors, right? And so that's a key business question, and we are the only people that really answer that in the right way. So it's that kind of stuff.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. So basically, you're a little bit like us. We believe that we are creatives that think as marketers. Obviously, we want to make the connection with a potential buyer when a client comes to us like, hey, I want to sell again the external hard drive. How do we make that connection? That's where the marketing comes in place. So you thought, when you were like developing these ideas for these tools and all that, you thought obviously as a user, but as well as a marketer. I think that's extremely, extremely powerful, that story, because people can now understand that, hey, the best intentions were put into this idea. This is not just to get data and just to get subscribers or just to get money, because at the end of it, it's about money. But either way, there has to be a passion behind it to be able to connect with the user. Let's jump into another tool. Okay? I love this question all the time. Like, what's one key thing that you would tell any Amazon seller that has already a live listing that wants to launch its second listing? What would you tell them?
He wants to launch. They have one live product, and they want to launch a second product.
And let's put it a little bit harder. They are not doing too good with their first product, but they see the potential in Amazon.
Yeah, I think it's my answer to that, and it's a very important one as an entrepreneur is, and you talk about creativity, right? You've got to be creative, you've got to have passion, but coming with being an entrepreneur in the world is you've got to have discipline, right? And what is discipline? Discipline is understanding when to cut something, and not be emotionally involved and say, hey, I put my life and soul into this brand, let me just keep going with it. It's going to work. But you've got to be able to be disciplined and say, hey, should I continue with this product or should I not? And the only way to be able to really answer that and to take the emotion out is to look at data, right? So my advice to anyone who's in that position, like, how detailed is your data? How much have you written down, even just on a piece of paper, right? Like writing down, like, these are all the things that I should be doing in my Amazon business. Have I done all of these to the best effect? And if I check off all of those and I've still got a bad product, it's time to cut, take the loss and then focus on the next product, right?
100%.
Anybody who's been in Amazon, my first product was okay, but it was my second product that really got me going, and it was my third that even did better, right? So, being able to kind of evolve and move beyond just one product is in my mind absolutely critical to being successful on Amazon. No one is doing 6 or 7 figures at least with just one product, right? You've got to go more than that, right? And probably another thing I'd say there, just as advice, is like when you're picking your products, if you can pick a product with a manufacturer that gives you access to more products, that's really great, because finding a great manufacturer is one big obstacle in terms of being successful with your Amazon business. If you find a great one and you can launch more products with just that manufacturer, that's great. So something like, as an example, like furniture, right? Like furniture, I always launched a furniture product. I didn't actually end up doing it, but the main reason behind that is with a furniture manufacturer, you can launch a side table, you can launch a table, you can launch a chair, you can launch a coat rack, you can do all of these things with one manufacturer, right? So if you can kind of find that, just being able to knock out a few different products and get those live is a big help.
And how can ZonGuru help that buyer, that same buyer persona that they're trying to launch their second one? Maybe their first one didn't do too good, but it still gave them hope. How can ZonGuru help?
Yeah, we have a niche finder tool, and we have a way of rating products. Again, answering key business questions, right? Which is we people call it the rainbow. It's the niche rater, but it's kind of known as the rainbow because it rates buyer demand, competition opportunity, revenue potential, and the capital you need to invest in that product to actually get it live. And it rates it across those 4 key business questions. And if you get a good rating on that, it's a decent product. Obviously, the 5th one is really important, you guys know, which is differentiation, which comes into creativity. How do you differentiate your product? You've got to answer that. You can't really do that as much with data. We have ways of getting insights around that with our love-hate tool, which really looks at all the things that people love or hate about a product, which gives you insights into what to focus on. But
I love that one.
Yeah, that's those are ways to rate a product. We also have kind of a report that will really take a category. So let's say you're in a specific category, like dog chew toys, right? If you're in that category and you want to understand, hey, what is the next best niche within that category that I should be launching a product in, we have a tool that would actually rate that and come back to you and say, hey, based on Amazon's leaf category of dog toys, these are the next best niches that you should go into. It might be whatever. It could be, sleep aids for dogs or, something like that, whatever it is. And we'll come back and tell you. So we have a lot of ways of getting at the latest, greatest data in Amazon, understanding what is a good niche based on how we actually analyze it with our data.
Super important. Yeah. Super important, for real. Super important. If anybody has any comments, please leave them. Any questions, please leave them in the comments. We'll be more than glad to get back to you. If we don't get back to you on this live because of XYZ reason, shoot us an email, hello@ShareStudio, or you can go leave it on the YouTube comments as well, and either John, Madi, or I will get back to you.
Madi, I'm sure you got a question. You're in the thick of it every day, so
yeah, she's like stealthy in the back of like the classrooms where like the kid at the backs are like super cool, like they come into then they ask all these deep questions. That's my.
Oh, now you set it up. What do you got?
No, I mean, in regards of content, we've discovered that actually images and A+ content more specifically, they can help you rank higher with the keywords, even though you don't have like text embedded into the website or like into the Amazon listing. So do you know anything about it and how these images can actually help you rank higher when it comes to keyword usage?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think, at the end of the day, images are going to help you the most from conversion, hands down, right? That's the point of having images, is it's absolutely explaining to individuals how to use your product. And you'll be very surprised how often people don't explain a product, dimensions, those kind of things in the right way with images that will really help with conversion. But outside of conversion, yeah, there's inferences that if you tag HTML tag your images in the right way, it's going to help you with conversion. It might help you with the Amazon network beyond Amazon. So I would absolutely tag your images with keywords that you think are best, and do it different for each of the images, right? So that's important.
Yeah, definitely. The main thing, images do drive conversion. Obviously, you need to tell the story. If you don't tell the story, like the marketing is just about emotional connection, right? Like in the 80s, you got all these sports cars, and you had the beautiful women, and then in the 40s, during the World War, you had I remember this the strong woman. Remember, like that was just trying to get them to, obviously, culture back then was completely different than it is now. So you want women to work more and all that to help. The things that men did back at that time. So it's all that emotional connection. Yes, you're strong. You can do this. Or man, like if you have the car, you'll get this. Or it's all about the emotional connection and about telling the story. And without, again, I can't stress this enough. You can have the best PPC. You can be ranking number one, and you might get traffic. And we have a lot of customers who do get a lot of traffic, but they're not converting. Tell me a little bit more about a moment about your first listing. Actually, maybe somebody new can relate to that. What strongholds did you present? Anything that you can give us, any tips that you can give us for actually newbie sellers?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think back when I did my first listing. Obviously, back then, I had a friend who was a photographer. We kind of set up a studio. We did the shoot ourselves. All of that kind of like,
I love the brand.
Put into the first thing. And yeah, at the end of the day, you said it earlier, you have to tell a story. It's really important, I think, to have close-ups, and at the end of the day, right now, today, like, what I find with new sellers is they put in all this effort, money, time, learning, finding your manufacturers, cost of buying, your product, all of these kind of things. And then you get the people who are like, oh, I'm going to skimp on my photographer. I'm going to go to Fiverr and like, Photoshop some, excuse my French, bullshit. Right.
Yeah.
And you're just like, why, and then they get to launching their product and you're like, oh, how's the product going? They're like, oh yeah, we've kind of put it on Amazon. We haven't like, we just kind of see how it's going. You haven't done your listing optimization or keyword research. You don't have, your enhanced brand content up, you're not trademarked. And I'm like, you've just put 8 months of your life into the passion of developing this product. And yet you're at the line right now and you're starting to fail. And you haven't put in all the effort that you should be. And it just baffles me sometimes. And what I would say to anybody who's getting live on Amazon, it's like, today it's not just about getting live on Amazon and getting a listing up, right? That's a big milestone, but you've got to think, 8 months down the road, like what are the steps I have to continue to go through to stay on top of the algorithm and stay, let the algorithm love you, right? Because if the algorithm falls out of love with your listing, you got no shot. It's such a hard way to come back. And so, that first 2 weeks, the first 3 weeks, like you've got to launch your product, have everything lined up, have some traffic, outside of Amazon going there. You've got Amazon posts, you've got to have, a launch strategy. You've got to have all it's not hard. You just have to learn how to do it and just do it, right? And put your best foot forward, because, if Amazon's going to give you a shot, but if you don't take that shot, they're moving on to the next 100 listings that are better than you, right? So take your shot and do well with it. That's important.
Yeah, because Amazon, literally, I'm not gonna say only, but Amazon mainly cares about the consumer and the clients. Obviously, they're customer obsessive. I used to work at Amazon. I worked at Amazon for a bit just to understand the company more, since I was kind of niche down into it. And the main thing when we got in is like customers always first. So obviously, if you're not giving value to the customer, you're not going to get anywhere. The algorithm is just going to, like, hey, this is like people are not buying if you're not getting enough clicks or they're not spending enough time in your listing. That's why Amazon gives you all these tools, right? You got the A+, you got Amazon Post, you got the Amazon Store, you got the Amazon brand story, you got the 7 images, you got the videos, you got the listing video, you got the sponsor ads video, you got all these different tools that Amazon is giving you. They're not just going to give it just to like we're bored in the office. What should we do? They're giving it to create a better experience for their customers. On that note, if you were to rank the top tools in order, obviously this is not a set in stone question, to launch your listing. John, you have to launch a listing. Here's ZonGuru. What would be the key top things that you would do with ZonGuru to help you launch that listing?
Yeah, I mean, we can actually just run through an exercise. If you want me to share my screen, I think we can just walk through that exactly how we do it, right?
We got more time, so 100%. I would love that.
Why don't we just do that real quick, and I can just talk through how we kind of approach it. I wonder if I should. Let me share my screen.
So guys, remember, if you want to reach out to us, please do. I'll leave the email right here. It's hello@shareitstudio.com. Any questions? If not, leave them in the comments. More than happy to answer anything that we will help you with. I don't know if John's ready. Oh, let me get you out to the stream. There you go.
Can you see my screen?
Yep, we see it. I think everybody can see it now.
Okay, so let's just theoretically say your product is an exercise band, right? You want to launch an exercise band, and you're starting to create your listing. The first thing you've got to understand is, okay, these are all, for the term exercise bands, he has all the competitors, right? There's a whole bunch of them, list, right?
Yeah.
You've got to understand, hey, who are my biggest competitors? How well are they optimized? What keywords are they focusing on? How do I beat them, right? That's at the end of the day, you've got to have the most reach, right? But you've got to be able to convert better. So, and I'm just talking specifically around keywords and listing optimization. I'm not really talking about images or product at this point. I'm just saying, like, if you've got a great product, you've obviously understood how to differdifferentiate it. Now you've got to like really get in there and build your listing, right? So if I look at all of these, I can just bring up our Chrome extension. There's a whole bunch of data in here to look at. We don't have to look at that in detail. But what I can tell you right now is, if you look at this little number 1 over here, and there's a number 2 over here, and maybe there should be a 3. Typically, there'll be a 3.
You passed it.
Basically what that is, there's usually a 1, 2, or 3, and sometimes Amazon will just return a 1 or a 2. But that comes from brand analytics, right? Which is telling us this listing here is getting the most clicks and conversions right now, this month, right now, out of all of these listings, right? They're doing obviously massive revenue, 295,000, but they're getting the most clicks. This one over here is getting the second most clicks and conversions right now. So they're probably your best competitors. They're obviously getting most clicks and conversions because they're well optimized. Maybe they have the best images, the best price, etc. But if those are the ones that are getting the most clicks and conversions, how can I look at them and then put in all the keywords and then be better than those competitors? And that's exactly what our tool does. If I jump over and I'll show you in our listing optimization tool, this is our listing optimization tool. The thing that we do is like, these are the top 3 competitors, right? So this guy over here, he's got an optimization score. He's in the top 7%. This guy over here is in the top 15%. And this person over here is in the top 5%, right? And you can see the titles, you can see the bullets, you can see the description, you can see even the backend search terms right here, right? And we rate that listing based on the keywords and how well they are optimized. Is it broad match in the title? Is it exact match in the title? Is it just somewhere in the listing, right? So we look at the relevancy, the impact, the importance of the keywords, and how those keywords are placed in the listing, and then you get a rating based on that. So I can see right now that this is in the top 5, and if this was my listing, right, I'm in the top 18%. So my understanding is like, how do I add the keywords into my listing to be better than this guy, top 5%, etc. And I can see right here, these are the keywords highlighted in green dedupes that I should be adding to my listing, right? So I can just go here, simple, and I can just add the word workout elastic. I mean, obviously you need to add this in the right way into your listing, but as soon as I add that, it starts to show you, okay, now you're starting to exact match for the right kind of keywords. I can keep going through the whole listing, and get better optimized. And just as an example, if I add all of the deduped keywords to my listing, I'll show you here. I'm already in the top 4%. So I've got a potential of being in the top 4 to 2% over my competitors. I can kind of do my whole listing, make sure it's really well optimized. I can just go right here and I can upload it directly to Amazon. I can check that mark of my book. I can say, hey, I've got the best optimized listing for keywords, and then move on. Now, obviously, how you put those keywords into your listing, how you write the copy, the things that you highlight, that's obviously a creative aspect that you need to go through. You can get insights from that around our love-hate tool, which looks at what are reviews saying about what's important, what's not important, and you can put that into your listing. But that's how you get a great listing. Now, obviously, yeah, go ahead.
No, please go ahead. Keep going. I love it.
I was just going to move on to real quick. Is probably the question is like, how do you actually get at these keywords? And that's obviously the critical factor, which is how do we get the best, most relevant keywords that customers are actually looking for or using to find your product, right? And that comes into our keywords on Fire tool. This is it right here. You just type in your seed keyword, exercise bands, and what it does is it kind of pulls in the top competitors. You can pull up to 25 competitors. I've got 24 over here. It looks at what keywords they index for, but then it dedupes it with actual API data that we get from Amazon around what people are actually typing into Amazon. So, you get it, and then we filter it down to the most impactful keywords that you have for your listing. So we cut out all the garbage and we give you, hey, these are the top keywords that your competitors rank for, but also people are typing into Amazon. And then we show you how your competitors actually rank for all of these keywords. You can see them all here. These are all the competitors. You can see how well they rank. And you can simply take the best keywords, put them into the listing, or you can do what I was saying earlier, is you can actually kind of create subsets of kind of opportunistic keywords that maybe I want to put into a PPC campaign. And that's as simple as going like, hey, this is my top competitor. I want to see all the keywords they don't rank for. This is another competitor. I want to see what they don't rank for. Okay, so here's my top 2 competitors. There's 160 unique keywords that they don't rank for in the top 25 positions. I can also kind of add say, hey, give me all the ones with search volume of greater than or equal to just maybe 2,000, right? So now I've got 88 keywords. Maybe I add another one here, which is like, hey, give me ratings of less than or equal to 2,000. I'm just making this up. I know it's going fast, but I can say right here, hey, he has 16 keywords that have decent search volume, have low ratings, so they've got traffic, they're not as competitive, and my top 2 competitors don't even rank for these in the top 25 positions. So let me actually take these ones, pull up resistance bands, bam, I can make that one of my keywords that I can go after, and my competitors don't rank for that, and I can get the halo effect going. So I can just save this list, I can add it up to PPC, and I can start running PPC against that, make sure these keywords are in my listing, and I can really get a leg up on all my competition. So really cool ways. There's thousands of ways to kind of like slice and dice the data here. But it's as simple as obviously just putting the main keywords in your listing, or you can get as sophisticated as really looking at some targeted keywords that you can go after and really push it. So that's kind of how at a high level, how we would kind of go after a listing, right? Is to number one, understand competition. Where are they ranking for it? Get my best keywords. How do I be better than them? And make sure that I've got a subset of opportunistic keywords that I can run PPC against it to really beat those competitors as well.
Extremely, extremely important. That's like, people may say that I'm a little bit, biased because you're here, but that is a game changer. If you don't understand that, like, guys, you really need to, like, this is such an important tool. Like, they're telling you basically like, hey, this keyword has a really good search volume and they're not using it. That's literally like free money. Like, here, just use it, obviously, like, you have to get, yes, you might get the clicks and you get everything, then you have to convert. Let's make sure that the client converts. But just by getting that tool, that keyword that tells you 8 keywords that they're not ranking for, that has really good search volume, like, PPC is going to come down, right? So you're going to have less investment, that you could actually put some money on the side and launch the second product, or be more aggressive. Get, if you're selling the color white, then you can get red and green, and start selling more and more products. So that's super, super, super good. What about the love and hate? Like, could you show like I love that tool. Can you show that a little bit for them?
Sure. Sorry, I stopped sharing my screen. I'll show you again.
Yeah,
I mean, to your point on those cues, like pull up exercise band, right? Like, you might think, you wouldn't come up with that just on your own, right? You've got to really understand and look at the tools. And people are looking. People type crazy things into Amazon. If you can kind of get at the data that actually shows you what people put into Amazon and see the search volume, and you get that, and your competitors aren't even like seeing that, you've got such a huge opportunity over them, and it's pretty powerful. So so if you go into product research and you go into this tool here, love hate, again, like content, he has exercise bands, we'll pull that up, but contextually it was a business question, right? Which is like, okay, well, I've got the best keywords, I've started to write my listing, but how I write the listing, what words do I overlay on some of my images? What words do I use in the title of some of my paid media ads? We need to answer those questions, and that boils down to, well, what do customers care about? And one of the real easy ways, well, not easy ways, but one of the ways to get at that in the past was to actually get a virtual assistant and just to analyze all the reviews, customer reviews. That
I remember those days. Yeah.
And so we were like, well, how can we just like fast track that, right? So this tool is basically a word cloud across all of the reviews across every single product in the category of exercise bands. So, you can see here, like exercise bands, he has all the common themes that pop up that have positive reviews for it. And he has all the ones that have negative reviews, right? And if I scroll down, if I look at, okay, cool, people care about the storage bag. Okay, well, let's see what are they talking about. I can click on that. I can scroll down. I can see every review, and it will highlight where it talks about the storage bag. Okay, cool. This is what's important about a storage bag. Okay, I need to make sure that in my listing, I talk about the storage bag and I call that out. When I look at what people hate, I can go over here and I can go, okay, the band snap. What is it about that? Okay, the yellow band always snaps. Okay, so make sure that I call out like, tried and tested bands, the yellow bands never snap, whatever it is, right? So kind of make sure that you reading these and understanding what do people truly care about. And if there's something here that you're like, hey, there's too much, it talks about bands too much, right? I can just say bands and I can say exclude that, and it's going to redo the whole analysis and go deeper without using the word bands, and then really look at the common themes that come out after that. So, this is the kind of work that you need to do to be able to pull out some of these phrases to put them in your image overlays, to put them in your copy, and to make sure people really understand, what is important, and even use this to differentiate your product further. Like if there's something here that truly stands out, like, the storage bag, then on your next iteration of your product, do something different with your storage bag, make it really stand out. And that's how you kind of really get ahead of the game, right?
I love how easy it gives it for the user. Like, it doesn't get any easier than this. Like, before you had to get your virtual assistant. I'm like, hey, these are the top 10 competitors. Look at them and see what things are similar, that are good and bad, and just pull these things out. And then when you wake up, if you're in the US and they're based down on the Philippines, you'll have like this list. But this is like so much easier. Just like click a button, boom. That's the idea. That's why I love that tool. It just makes our life as an agency so much easier, obviously. So we wrapped. We reached actually the 38-minute mark. Is there anything else that you want to add before we start closing down?
No, look, I think at ZonGuru, we're obviously passionate about Amazon private label sellers. If you want to check us out, come check us out. Look at our Instagram channel. We have a really cool series on there. Actually, you guys should probably get on that, but it's really the Rate Your Hack series, which looks at really experts and what is their best tip to drive your Amazon business. Check that out.
That's a cool one.
Join us. We have live training every single week. We have Amazon sellers really getting on there, really helping you with your business. So if you want to check us out, check us out. I think the last tip I'd probably leave the audience with is one really good thing to do is understand that sometimes you can't see the forest from the trees because you're so stuck in your business, and you need outside inputs on your business. And one really easy way to do that is to basically call a friend, say, hey, can you go on and buy exercise bands, and just go through the process and record that. You can use free recording software. Just record your buying process and the questions you ask yourself as you go through. Select a product, buy it, and then I'll refund you the money. And just get that recording. That 20 or 10 minute process of someone actually going through and talking about the questions they're asking themselves when they actually choose a product is gold. That you will realize there's some things you need to put in your listing that you never thought you should put in there. It could be a small dimension. It could be something else. So do that with a couple of friends. It'll change. You'll literally get. I can guarantee you it's gonna add like 10% sales at least to your business just from the start. So do that.
It's actually the first time I hear that advice, and I think that's golden. That's basically what we do with Pigfu in our hero images, for example, right? We just don't create one for our customers. We create many, and then we analyze them, and we obviously create them based on what we find. But that focus group study that you're doing, like with the buyer, with the buyer persona, and then the steps they take and the questions they ask themselves, I think that's golden, man. I think that's literally a golden nugget right there, guys. Definitely take advantage of that. Anything else before I interrupted you? You want to say?
That's it, man. All good. Yeah. No, yeah. Congrats on the business. You're obviously definitely helping people, bring their products to Amazon and to be successful. So appreciate what you guys do. And
oh man, you're a legend. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Mario only got to ask one question this time. Mario, I'll leave you more time next time. I promise. I apologize. I talk too much. God, I talk too much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Don.
See you next time. Guys, please follow. We're gonna leave all the comments in the comments. We're gonna leave all the handles in the description for ZonGuru, and anywhere that they can reach out if they have any questions for ZonGuru.
Just ZonGuru.com. There's a little chat down there. Hit it up. We've got a whole team there ready to talk to you guys.
All right. Well, guys, until next time.